Just when I thought the Warriors might be cooked, Mike Dunleavy, aka Money Mike, salvaged what was looking like an offseason from hell, bringing in DeAnthony Melton, Kyle Anderson, and reportedly Buddy Hield. When you think about it, the Warriors basically traded Klay Thompson for DeAnthony Melton, Kyle Anderson, and Buddy Hield. That's not a bad haul coming back for someone who was leaving regardless. So I'm sure y'all already know by now. Klay dipped for Dallas, and the Warriors waived CP3 after failing to find a trade partner, leaving the Warriors with very few trade avenues to improve the team. I ain't gonna lie, it was looking all bad for the roster. Like, it was looking ugly. But shout out to Mike Dunleavy, who instead of letting Klay walk for nothing, negotiated a 3-team signing trade with Dallas to bring back 2 second-round picks and a $16 million trade exception. All right, real quick, for those of you who don't know what a trade exception is, it's basically a tool that could be used as matching salary in a trade instead of sending a player. So again, a $16 million trade exception and 2 second-round picks is what they got back for Klay. In a situation where Klay can literally walk for nothing, Mike Dunleavy finessed some assets out of nothing. The Warriors then turned around and used a portion of that trade exception to execute a sign and trade for Kyle Anderson, signing him to a 3-year, $27 million contract, which is $9 million a year. Great value. So that's $9 million out of the $16 million trade exception used, with $7 million left over. Mike Dunleavy then used that leftover $7 million trade exception to execute another sign and trade for Buddy Hield. The Warriors also signed DeAnthony Melton to a 1-year deal at a little under $13 million using their mid-level exception, which was only possible for them to do because Klay Thompson's $43 million contract and Chris Paul's $30 million contract came off the books, getting the Warriors under the first apron, which allowed them to use this $12.7 million tool to sign a free agent. So just like that, the Warriors went from possibly losing Klay and CP3 for nothing to signing 2 defensive-minded championship-level role players, as well as a designated sharpshooter for your bench and Buddy Hield. Next up, I'm gonna do a quick recap of the 3 new additions. After that, you know I gotta hit that trade machine, because there's a very big trade brewing for the Warriors, but we'll get into that later. First up is Kyle Anderson. For those of you who don't know much about Kyle Anderson, aka Slow-Mo, he's a 6'9" power forward with a 7'2" wingspan. He's essentially a point forward on offense and a really good defensive player. Kyle Anderson is a textbook Steve Kerr type of role player. He's naturally a pass-first player. At 6'9", he actually played point guard in college at UCLA. It's only when he got to the league that he converted to a forward, but he still maintains all his point guard instincts. So he's a player with a really good feel for the game. Golden State will be able to do a lot of the things they do with Draymond, with Kyle Anderson as a passing hub. He'll be able to run all the same actions and make the right play out of those reads. He's a really good transition playmaker and a solid defensive rebounder. So once he gets the board, he's great at jump starting a fast break. He has really good core vision, always looking to make the extra pass, always looking for the dump off pass, always looking for the kick out pass to the corner shooter. He's the type that doesn't really care about his own scoring and is always looking to make the extra pass. Now that could be a detriment at times when he's hesitant to shoot, but he's a pretty high IQ player that generally makes the right play and rarely turns the ball over. Offensively, he can't shoot threes at all. In fact, he'll barely attempt one. Every now and then he'll get one off in the corner, but his jumper is so slow and so broken. He has zero versatility to that jumper. It's so hard to get it off, and most of the time, teams don't even close out. They just be like, all right, bro, you got it. Go ahead and shoot. So that's the biggest weakness in his game, is that he's a non-shooter. But every now and then, he'll hit 1 or 2 threes in a game, and you're just like, yo, that's what's up. But his mindset offensively is similar to Sean Livingston. He knows what he can and can't do, and instead of chucking threes, he's just like, look, I'm not the best 3-point shooter. I'm gonna make the extra pass. He's really good at attacking closeouts and taking advantage of a moving defense. Although the stats not recorded, he racks up hockey assists like crazy. Although his lack of spacing will make things clunky at times, the Warriors have had a lot of successful players of his archetype. And by that I mean players that are not shooters, but good defenders and good playmakers. If you're a non-shooter playing the Warriors system, but you're a good playmaker and a good defender, the Warriors can make it work. Mainly because Steph Curry is so great offensively, he can carry lineups that have very little spacing, as long as it's loaded with defense and playmaking. Look at players like Draymond, defender and playmaker. Andrew Bogut, defender and playmaker. Sean Livingston, defender and playmaker. Andre Iguodala, defender and playmaker. All those players I just named have made vital contributions to the Warriors dynasty, and they're all either non-shooters, limited shooters, or streaky shooters. So while Slow-Mo could be a tough fit on most teams, I don't really see him being a problem with the Warriors. All right, next up is DeAnthony Melton. His strengths are defense, secondary playmaking, and secondary shot creation. Offensively, he's not the most efficient player in the world, but he is a capable 3-point shooter, and he's added a lot of versatility to his 3-point attack these days. He's really turned himself into a solid shooter, hovering at a passable 36% the last few seasons. Like I said, he's a pretty solid secondary playmaker who doesn't turn the ball over much and generally makes the right play. He's really a combo guard more so than he is a shooting guard, capable of some point guard duties, but defensively is where he shines. His help side defense as a guard, I kid you not, is some of the best in the league. He's not quite Derek White level, but man is he good. I swear sometimes he comes out of nowhere for some of the craziest blocks you'll see for a 6'2" dude. What I like about Slow-Mo and Melton is that they're both defensive playmakers. Kyle Anderson 6'9" with a 7'2" wingspan, and DeAnthony Melton 6'2" with a 6'8" wingspan. Both of them have really long arms, and they stay in the passing lanes terrorizing teams. Anderson's giving you about 2.3 combined steals and blocks per 36 minutes, and Melton's giving you about 2.8 combined per 36. Those are insane numbers. The Warriors had very few defensive playmakers last season. The team was old, unathletic, and just didn't force turnovers. But now adding Melton and Anderson, the Warriors have 2 dudes that are going to be in a rotation that are high-level defensive players that are routinely at the top of the league in deflections every season. They bring a lot of activity and pressure that the Warriors just haven't had outside of GP2. Speaking of Gary Payton in a second, signing Melton makes GP2 expendable. He's basically a better, younger version of GP2 that can shoot, dribble, act as a secondary playmaker, and a secondary ball handler. Now, if we're talking about strictly on-ball defense, GP2 is probably still better, as well as being a superior cutter and finisher at the rim. But Melton's superior three-point shooting, shot creating, and passing just makes him a way more versatile player that can fit in way more lineups. All right, next up is Buddy Hield. He's an 8-year vet who's a career 40% three-point shooter. Per 36 minutes, Buddy Hield gets up 9.5 three-pointers a game. Dude is a straight specialist whose sole purpose is to come off the bench and get up as many threes as he can and then efficient clip. He doesn't really do anything else. Like I said, he's a specialist. Once playoff time rolls around, I really don't expect him to play much. His defense and b-ball IQ is suspect, but in terms of getting through the regular season, he's a pretty valuable depth piece. Every team needs players like Buddy Hield who are going to come in and keep the defense honest. Teams can't sag off him, they have to guard him. And he's a versatile shooter that has range. He's not afraid to bomb from a few feet behind the line. So what that does is it extends the defense. So now the defender has to guard up even more, which opens up lanes for his teammates. Again, he's a career 40% three-point shooter who's an extremely versatile movement shooter, which allows you to run a lot of the same sets you run for Clay for him. All right, after these 3 additions, let's check out the depth chart. For our starters, we got Curry, Melton starting at the 2, Wiggins, Draymond, TJD. Off the bench, we got Pods, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, Kuminga, Looney, Kyle Anderson, GP2. And then our third stringers, we got Lindy Waters, Guy Santos, and Quentin Post. So right off the bat, the Warriors have a lot of decent players signed. Plenty of depth, probably too much depth. There's a lot of overlap in the roster. A lot of players that do similar things and operate in similar areas of the court. Anderson, Melton, and Buddy, while all good signings and all good players, seem to be a little redundant with Kuminga, Moody, and GP2. Is it just me, or do those players look like they were targeted as specific replacements in case the Warriors make a bigger trade? Speaking of trades, the Warriors and Jazz are reportedly in serious conversations about a Lauri Markkanen trade to the Warriors. Yo, Money Mike is going for it. Utah's GM Danny Ainge is reportedly looking for the same package that the Nets got from Mikal Bridges, which was something like 4 or 5 first-round picks. But anyways, I fired up the trade machine just to see if this trade concept was even legal. And yup, it's all good. So let's see what it looks like. And mind you, I'm not gonna worry about the picks right now. Just assume it's Kuminga, Moody, GP2, and at least 3 to 5 picks. So that's the trade. As you can see, it's legal in the trade machine. Now let's check out the depth chart with Lauri Markkanen. So we got Curry, Melton, Wiggins, Lowry, and Draymond. Off the bench, we got Pods, Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson, TJD, and Looney. Third stringers, Lindy Waters, Guy Santos, and Quentin Post. So off rip, the Lowry Draymond front court is a perfect pairing. Perfect complement. Lauri Markkanen is the exact player that Draymond needs next to him. A 7-footer that's one of the best shooters in the league. He's a movement shooter as well as a spot-up shooter. He can pick and pop. He can come shooting off screens. He's also athletic and an extremely effective play finisher that can be used as a vertical threat. You got Wiggins and Melton as your point of attack defenders. That's one of the best 1-2 defensive perimeter combos in the league. If you play the Mavs, you can put Wiggins on Luka and Melton on Kyrie. If you play OKC, you can put Wiggins on Shea and Melton on Jalen Williams. The list goes on and on. Lauri Markkanen is the perfect fit on this roster next to Steph. He gives the Warriors a much-needed established second option, who also provides size as a 7-footer and is also one of the best shooters in the league. Yo, Money Mike, get it done. Get it done. I know the amount of draft picks going out is scary, but hey, man. If the Warriors make this trade, they're maximizing Steph Curry's last few years and have a legit shot at the title these next few seasons. Mike Dunleavy, get it done. Anyways, that's all I got for y'all. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. I'll holler at you on the next one. Peace.